Hope everybody had a good time last night, even though the game got out of hand. The first half was kind of close. The second half, Seattle just pulled away. So everybody that was on the live last night, appreciate you for joining. I am your host, the one on the Stock Sniper, the Big Talk, Bad Bunny, Kid Rock. Man, I think that for the first time, I think a lot of the football fans are talking about the halftime show. You know, in my opinion, if we're gonna talk about Bad Bunny, Bad Bunny done his thing. You might say, well, Stock Sniper, nobody can really understand what he was saying. Well, think about it like this. We don't understand a lot of what the rappers be saying. You know what I'm saying? So what's the difference? The thing is on these shows, guys, we're watching visually of the show, right? You're not really paying attention to the words, bro, on these halftime shows. You know, you doing whatever you're doing. You waiting on the second half to come back on, and you're watching, the show, like the visuals, everything like that. And, in my opinion, Bad Bunny did a great job. I must be the first one to say, I thought it was going to be a shit show. That's exactly what I thought. If you was on the live last night, you basically heard me, before we got on the live, you heard me say, before I thought that it was going to be a shit show. But guess what? It really wasn't. Bad Bunny put on a hell of a show. Got to give it to him. Don't pay attention. Don't worry about, well, we couldn't understand what he was saying. It is the presentation of the actual show. It ain't the words. It's the presentation of the actual show. You know what I'm saying? He did a great job representing, for the people. Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico is America. You know what I'm saying? So we got to understand that too, guys. He represented Puerto Rico. He took us to Puerto Rico, all the different scenes he was doing, the Puerto Rican culture, and all that. Puerto Rico is America too. We got to understand that. And he had all groups of people on the show. You know what I'm saying? That is what America is, chat. That's what America is, guys. A whole lot of different groups of people to make up one America. That's what it is, man. And Bad Bunny represented that last night. So just like I was saying it was gonna be a shit show, I gotta say it was a really good show. It was good. It was really good. And it basically showed us about the Puerto Rican culture, which is also America. So it was a good show. Now we gotta come and we gotta recap. It was Cardi B in the show. A lot of different groups of people was in that show last night, Chad. If you go back, I know a lot of people, when you watching the game and you're excited about what's going on, you're not really paying attention to all the details. So it's a good thing that we go back as today and just go back and look, where you can really analyze it with all the emotion and the adrenaline of the football game, So go back and just watch it, on today. And, that's what I did. And what I noticed is that, man, he put on a hell of a show. And guess what? He put on all different groups of people, all different nationalities. I just subscribed and gave you a like. Oh, thank you. 7309. Thank you for joining. What up, my boy? Can we see your cute face? If you want to see my face, you got to go rewind the videos. This here's a Pacific show. It's called The Walk Down. I do this every single day. You got to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, and become a participant of the show. This is the show is where I mind my own business. I stay in my own lane and I mind my own business. That's what this show is about. It's called The Walk Down. I run 3 miles and then I walk another 1.25 miles and I come on and this is what I do. A lot of people like this show. We are in season 3, episode 171. This is a show. It's called The Walk Down. Well, you see what's going on outside. You see what's going on around here. And this, my friend, represents that I stay in my own lane and I mind my own business. That's what it represents. So when you see me doing this, that means that I stay in my own lane, I mind my own business. That's what I do. I pay attention to what Stock Sniper need to be paying attention to. That's what I do. Now let's go get back to the recap. I thank all y'all for coming and rocking with me. Man, Bad Bunny put on a good show last night. You know what I'm saying? All the whole scene and the different scenes that he was showing, all the different cultures, the people, was really, really, really good. You know what I'm saying? I liked it, everything that he did on that show. I got to admit it because, Chad, I thought it was going to be a clown show. I ain't going to lie. And it wasn't. So I got to come on here today and automatically say that it was not a clown show. It was a really, really good performance. It represented everybody in America. It represented every American culture in America, what America is built on, what America is today. And that was a good show. On the other hand, when it comes to Kid Rock, we didn't even know anybody. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know anybody on that stage. Well, I didn't anyway. And I think most people feel the same way. There were no big names on there, right? It was no variety of different people. It wasn't no variety of different cultures. It was only one group of people on that stage last night, chat, when it comes to Kid Rock. And, in my opinion, Kid Rock is not even that. Don't get me wrong, I used to listen to Kid Rock and the Beastie Boys, all that back in the days. But Kid Rock right now is not that type of, not that popular anymore where he needs to be heading a halftime Super Bowl show. I said it. And the other people that was on that show, I didn't know not one person, right? It was no different variety of different people. It wasn't no different variety of different people. It was only one group of people. And I didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to see different groups of people. I wanted to see different scenes. You know, it was just people on stage. The Super Bowl is not a concert. The Super Bowl halftime show is not a concert, chat. It is a choreographed visual performance. You know, all the Super Bowl halftime shows are visual performances. It ain't just somebody standing on stage singing. You know what I'm saying? It's visual, you know, and so that's how I separated the two. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, Bad Bunny, you know what I'm saying, was a hell of a performance. That's my opinion. That's what I think. Don't get me wrong. I love Kid Rock. You know what I'm saying? I love him. But, and I used to exercise the Kid Rock and the Beastie Boys and all that back in the days. But guess what? Man, they did not add up to the standards of the Super Bowl, chat, of a Super Bowl performance. All the performances that we've seen during all these Super Bowls. I've been watching the Super Bowl since the 80s. And what Kid Rock and them put on wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people didn't like Bad Bunny's performance because it wasn't in English. Well, a majority of these concerts and majority of these people, we don't know what they're saying anyway. You know what I'm saying? For instance, the rappers be on the stage. We don't know what they're saying. They're talking all fast. They mumbling. You know, we don't know, especially at a concert, you know, especially at a Super Bowl show, you know, you're not listening to what they're saying. You're singing the hook or something like that, but half the time we don't even know the words. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we got to understand. The Super Bowl halftime show is a visual thing like this. I'm showing visual. You know, I'm showing different areas. That's what the Super Bowl show is all about. You know what I'm saying? Because let's keep it real, Chad. Most people not really checking for what the words of the songs of these Super Bowl shows. We're just waiting for the Super Bowl to come back on. That's what we're waiting. You know what I'm saying? But we have to understand. They tried to separate. You know, they tried to separate. You know, and that wasn't cool. Let Bad Bunny have his time. That's who they picked to do the halftime show. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to take it away when it's already been handpicked by the NFL and by Jay-Z. If you don't know, Jay-Z is the one who is over the halftime show performances and the majority of the music that's being played at the football games and at the Super Bowl. Jay-Z is the one that's over all that. You know, just like they made a big old fit last year, even I did too, chat. I ain't gonna lie. I made a big old fit last year that Kendrick Lamar was the headliner of the show. And the only reason why I didn't want Kendrick Lamar to be the headliner of that show because it was in New Orleans, and I thought that Lil Wayne was supposed to be the headliner of the show. Because if you don't know, you know, Lil Wayne is from New Orleans, you know, and I felt that he should have been the headliner of the show, or at least there. But you know, Kendrick Lamar, like they do, Kendrick Lamar is, you know, the name is beaming, just like Bad Bunny. I didn't even know who a Bad Bunny was, chat. I didn't even know who Bad Bunny was until they named him for halftime at the Super Bowl. I never heard of a Bad Bunny, you know, so I didn't even know who he was. But he did a good performance last night. I liked it. It was really good. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all, what we gotta understand is Puerto Rico is a part of America, chat. You know, Puerto Rico is America. And we gotta understand that. You know what I'm saying? So and that, in my opinion, you know, because I thought it was gonna be a shit show. I'm the first one to say it. I thought it was gonna be some way to the left. After I, you know, found out who Bad Bunny was, I thought it was gonna be way to the left. You know, but it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It was really, really good. So, you know, shout out to the Super Bowl performance last night. It was really, really, really good, chat. You know what I'm saying? Let me get into the comment section and see what y'all think. Salty, it's only an opinion. He's giving his opinion. Thousands of people will agree with him. Yeah, Salty, I'm just giving my opinion, bro. You're crazy. It was trash. Well, it was good to me. You know what? Okay, Salty, what you didn't like about it? What you didn't like about it, Salty? Let's go there. If you didn't like Bad Bunny's performance last night, tell me why you didn't like it. And don't say because it wasn't in English. Don't say that, chat. Don't say that. Most people that I know and most people that I have talked to, only reason why they didn't like it is because it wasn't in English. You know, but like I say, we're not paying attention to the words, chat. We're not paying attention to the words. Majority of the time, we don't even know what half these rappers be saying. You know what I'm saying? So it's a visual thing, right? That's what the show is all about, the visuals and how they put the choreograph and how he put it together. I really don't care about what he's saying. I'm looking at the visual and how they choreograph the event, how it went. That's what I like about it. You know, that's what I like about it because, like I say, when we watching these halftime shows, chat, we're not checking for the words. We're looking, you know, because that Super Bowl halftime show is visual, you know, because most of the time we're waiting on the game to come back on. You know, you eating, you talking to people, you know, you're waiting on the game to come back on. And the purpose of that halftime show is to visually keep us engaged. And I think they did a good job of that last night. That's my opinion. So what's up, Salty? I'm waiting on your opinion. What's your opinion, Salty? Why you think it was trash? I need to know. You know, a lot of people that ain't gonna like it are gonna be the people, you know, that's far right. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think that Kid Rock's performance should have been a little bit more American, you know, like cultural, with a lot of what America is, a lot of different group of people. We didn't know nobody that was on that stage last night, chat. Only people that we knew, well, me personally, only person that I knew was Kid Rock. And like I said, I like Kid Rock, but Kid Rock didn't deserve to be on the Super Bowl stage. He just really didn't. And the numbers, even though they got a lot of numbers because there was a lot of people from the right, because they politicized it. They made it political, chat. And political and politics has no business in football. Can we agree on that, Salty? Do you agree with that? That politics and Republicans and Democrats has no involvement when it comes to, shouldn't have no involvement when it comes to American sports, especially particularly football, because football is America's game. Everybody loves football. You know, everybody loves football. And then of course, you know, Donald Trump gonna say that he said that the show was horrible. You know, but that's his opinion. I don't think it was horrible. You know, I think it was a good show. You know, Trump say nobody could understand a word he said. But what we gotta realize, nobody's checking for the words, chat. Nobody's checking for the words. Everybody's looking visual. So that's just another, just in my opinion, chat, that's just another way to try to divide us. You know what I'm saying? Now he's trying to divide the football fans, which is not cool. You know, we can't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, chat. We can't do it. You know what I'm saying? We can't do that. Politics is damn near ruin from the sport. Right? It's not right. That's one thing that football brings everybody together, chat. Football brings everybody together. That's what we love about football. You know what I'm saying? It brings people together. Politics has no business in football. In sports, period. But particularly football. You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do now when it comes to the Olympics? You know what I'm saying? They gonna be political about the Olympics? I mean, man, politics has no, that's all we really got left, chat. If they separate and they divide us when it comes to football, it's gonna be a lot of little league, it's gonna be a lot of little league teams that has a lot of division on the team. That's just what it is. You know, football and sports is one area where we all come together. You know, and I think that was done on purpose, because there's no way Kid Rock, chat, deserved to be on the Super Bowl halftime show stage. I said it. He just didn't deserve it. He didn't. You know, just like they made the decision about Lil Wayne last year. I was upset. I was sick. You know what I'm saying? It's because I had personal connection and I wanted Lil Wayne to be the headliner of the Super Bowl at New Orleans. It was personal. But if you really, you know, once I really thought about it, hey, you know, Kendrick Lamar is doing all the numbers. You know, so the numbers don't lie. You know what I'm saying? So Kendrick Lamar really deserved it. But because, you know, personal reasons, I wanted Lil Wayne to head it. And it don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? Just like Bad Bunny. A lot of people, you know, didn't understand why Bad Bunny got the head roll. He got the head roll because he has the numbers, right? And I think they say that Bad Bunny, they almost broke Kendrick Lamar's record. You know, so Jay-Z, who put this together, is actually doing something right, because Kendrick Lamar did 33 billion streams, I think, from the Super Bowl last year. And I think that the numbers on Bad Bunny is like 32 or 31. So they did big numbers, you know? They did big numbers. But my recap, this is a recap of the overall halftime shows. We had two, but that's my recap on both of these shows, chat. And I gotta give a shout out to Bad Bunny, because I thought it was gonna be a shit show. That's what I really thought, chat, but it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It was a good show, and he really impressed me. Like I said, I never heard of him before until they announced him as the Super Bowl, you know. So chat, what they did was they introduced Bad Bunny to a whole different audience. Because like I said, I never knew who Bad Bunny was. Never heard of him before. So when they say Bad Bunny is gonna be the head of the Super Bowl, I was like, Bad Bunny? Who the hell is Bad Bunny? What kind of name is that? And then that's when I got educated and I found out who he was. And I was like, oh man, that Super Bowl show, I thought it was gonna be something else, Chad. That's what I really thought. I think that's probably the reason why I'm so high on the Super Bowl show last night that Bad Bunny did, because it didn't go. I thought negative about Bad Bunny. I got to be the first one to say it, chat. This is the Freedom of Speech channel, by the way. This is the Freedom of Speech channel. And I felt negative. I had negative opinion about Bad Bunny. Oh, Stock Sniper, you always talking positive. Yeah, I'm human. But I had negative thoughts about Bad Bunny and how that show was gonna go last night, and it didn't go like that. It went perfect, right? So that's the reason why I got to shout out to Bad Bunny, which I know he'll never see this, but I got to shout out to the Bad Bunny, all the Bad Bunny fans and supporters. I got to shout out to y'all, because that show last night that he did was a great show, in my opinion. You know, it was a great visual show. Yes, a lot of people didn't know what he was saying. But like I say again, we don't know what half these rappers are saying. So what is the difference? It's about visual, right? And that they put that together really, really well. The opposite of that is what Kid Rock did. And I didn't know nobody. Only person I knew was Kid Rock. They didn't bring up nobody, to make it more of America. They made it look one way, which is political. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people have things to say about how Kid Rock and The Turning Point did the show. It wasn't colorful. In other words, it was only one way. So if you didn't see it, go back and look at that Turning Point Kid Rock show and see it's only one way. It's not, in my opinion, chat, it don't represent 2026 America. It don't. It don't represent all different types of people. It don't. It only recognize one type of people. And that's my opinion. And that's basically a fact. If anybody go look at Bad Bunny's show, you see a whole lot of different group of people. You see we the people. And we say America, we the people. Well, Bad Bunny, he put that on display last night with We the People. Well, you go look at Kid Rock and Turning Point show, you don't see We the People. You only see one group of people. And majority of them, nobody knows. So that's my recap on the halftime shows from last night. Well, when it comes to the football game, it was a good game first half. Second half, it got out of hand. So if you was on the live last night, I usually do commentary through the whole game, but it went like it usually goes. When I do commentary, it's always blowouts. So that's what happened last night. And we got off subject. But the Super Bowl, the halftime shows were better than the actual game last night. I said it. So that's why a lot of football fans, I'm a football fan, we never really discuss the halftime shows. We always talk about the game, especially we got Tom Brady, we got Patrick Mahomes, and that great team. Last year was the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what I'm saying? And we usually would be talking about the performance of the game. Well, today, everybody's talking about Bad Bunny and Kid Rock show and talking about that, which I don't think that's what we're supposed to be talking about, to be honest with y'all. But they're trying to put politics in football. That's what we gotta understand. They want to keep us divided. We gotta understand that more than ever. They want us divided. So we gotta understand that. And yes, America, it's the freedom of speech. You got the freedom to think what you think. You got your opinion. It's very, very, very important. Like I say, this is the Freedom of Speech channel. I got one really important question I need to ask you. What you gotta ask me, 6278? What you gotta ask me, 6278? What's the important question? I'm waiting, because we almost through with the walk down. We ran 3 miles, and we walking another 1.25 miles to end the show. This is season 3, episode 171 of the walk down. And we're almost at the end. We are 25 minutes in. I can't go over today, chat. On the walk down, I can't go over. I can't I cannot walk another 1.25 miles, not today, chat. So what's your question? 6278. You ain't gotta ask me. Just ask the question. That's all you gotta do. This is the freedom of speech channel. Long as it's respectful, you know how it go. But you can say whatever you want to say over here. It's the freedom of speech channel. And you ain't gotta agree with me. You don't. Because this is America. You know what I'm saying? This is America. You got the right. You got a freedom of speech in America. And that's what we stand on over here. The freedom of speech channel. How in hell did the kicker from the Seahawks not get MVP? You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I was running my mouth so much last night. After they went up, I think 6 or 9-0. I stopped paying attention to the game, chat. It was not an entertaining game. After the first half, I wasn't paying attention to the game no more. If you was in the chat last night, 6278, you will see. After halftime, I wasn't even really paying attention to the game no more. That's why everybody's talking about keep walking. No. That's why everybody's talking about the halftime shows, because the game wasn't all that good. You know, it wasn't. Maybe because, Chad, we're used to seeing Patrick Mahomes. You know, we're used to seeing the guys that we normally see. But last night, you know, those teams didn't even make it to the playoffs last year. So we had we remember how they was before, you know, the Legion of Doom and Tom Brady, you know, Marshawn Lynch. You know, we remember, you know, and all that. But it wasn't, you know, it was fresh meat in the Super Bowl. So we wasn't starstruck. Yeah, that's what it was. We wasn't starstruck last night, chat. You know, because, you know, we're used to seeing Patrick Mahomes. You know, we're used to seeing those type of caliber of players. You know, and last night wasn't that. So it was kind of like watching a regular game. And in my opinion, those Super Bowl shows overrode the game. That's my opinion. As a football fan that pay attention to the numbers and to the game, it felt like a regular game last night. But the season is over, chat, and we got 4 more months, you know, before the season starts again. And guess what? We got to start it all over again, chat. So I think I'm ending right here. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I cannot go over. It's right under the question. Well, I appreciate y'all for joining me. I got to go, chat. This is the end of the walk down. We back where we started. I can't go no further. I'm not going over 30 minutes, not today. If you've been on the stream before, you know I like to run my mouth. But today I can't do it. So I hope y'all have a great day. I might go live later from the desk, you know, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and cut on all post notification bells so you will know when we go live. So I appreciate y'all for joining me. I hope y'all having a great day. Like we having a great day out here. It's nice and sunny. You know what I'm saying? Everybody out here chilling on the next day after the Super Bowl. You got everybody out here exercising, playing golf, you know, just having a good time. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. To the next one, I'm out.